Imagine walking down a crowded street and someone bumps into you without apologizing. Your initial reaction might be frustration or even anger. How rude, you might think. But what if you knew that this person had just received terrible news about a loved one? What if you learned they were in deep distress, lost in their own world, struggling to keep themselves together? Would your anger still feel justified? Probably not. Instead, you might feel a sense of compassion or understanding. This is the power of shifting your perspective, of realizing that every single person you encounter is carrying a story you know nothing about. The person who speaks harshly to you might be battling anxiety. The colleague who ignores your greeting might be struggling with personal losses. The driver who cuts you off in traffic may be rushing to a hospital. When you start viewing people through this lens, you begin to understand that their actions are not necessarily a reflection of you. They are a reflection of their own struggles, fears, and insecurities. The truth is, we often take things too personally. If someone raises their voice at us, we assume it's about us. If a friend forgets to check in, we think they don't care. But in reality, people are so wrapped up in their own battles that they rarely have the energy to intentionally hurt us. It's not always about us. Once we internalize this, we stop reacting with anger and start responding with patience. Think about a time in your life when you were going through something difficult. Maybe you were stressed, tired, or emotionally drained. During that time, did you always behave your best? Were you always kind, understanding, and patient with others? Probably not. You might have snapped at someone, ignored a message, or been distant from a loved one. Now, did that mean you were a bad person? No. It simply meant you were struggling. This realization should make us more forgiving toward others because we've all been in situations where we weren't at our best. One of the most beautiful aspects of human nature is our ability to extend grace to one another. Instead of reacting with anger, try responding with curiosity. If someone behaves rudely, rather than immediately feeling offended, ask yourself, I wonder what they are going through. This simple shift in perspective can change the way you experience the world. Instead of carrying resentment, you begin to cultivate compassion. A great way to practice this is by reminding yourself of the people you deeply care about. If your best friend, sibling, or child was having a rough day and snapped at you, you would probably give them the benefit of the doubt. You wouldn't hold it against them. You would recognize that they were struggling. Now imagine if you could extend that same understanding to strangers, colleagues, and acquaintances. How much more peaceful would your life be? It's also important to remember that we judge ourselves by our intentions, but we judge others by their actions. If we snap at someone, we justify it by saying, I didn't mean it, I was just upset. But when someone else snaps at us, we assume they are being rude or disrespectful. This double standard creates unnecessary anger. The more we remind ourselves that people don't always mean harm, the less we let their actions disturb our peace. Another powerful perspective shift is realizing that many people are simply projecting their inner struggles onto others. A person who constantly criticizes may be struggling with self-worth. Someone who tries to bring you down may be dealing with their own insecurities. When people act unkindly, it often has nothing to do with you and everything to do with what they are dealing with internally. Instead of absorbing their negativity, remind yourself that their behavior is a reflection of their pain, not your worth. There's an old saying, hurt people hurt people. When someone lashes out, it's usually because they themselves are hurting. If you can look at them with this understanding, your perspective shifts from anger to empathy. Instead of reacting, you might feel inclined to offer kindness, even when it's undeserved. Because kindness in the face of negativity is not weakness, it's strength. It shows that you refuse to let the actions of others dictate your inner peace. One way to strengthen this mindset is by practicing gratitude. When we focus on what's good in our lives, we become less reactive to the things that irritate us. If you wake up and remind yourself of 3 things you're grateful for, you start the day with a positive mindset. Then, when something bothersome happens, it doesn't affect you as deeply. Gratitude acts as a shield, protecting you from the small irritations of daily life. Another powerful tool is deep breathing. When you feel yourself getting angry, take a moment to pause. Inhale deeply, hold your breath for a few seconds, and then slowly exhale. This simple act helps calm your nervous system and gives you a moment to reconsider your reaction. Often, by the time you've taken a few deep breaths, the anger has already started to fade. It's also helpful to remind yourself that anger rarely solves anything. If someone treats you unfairly, your anger won't fix the situation. It won't teach them a lesson or change their behavior. But what it will do is disturb your inner peace. Every time you react in anger, you give away a piece of your happiness to someone else. The real power lies in maintaining your peace regardless of how others behave. Some of the most successful and happy people in the world share a common trait. They don't let negativity affect them. They understand that life is too short to waste energy on things that don't serve them. Instead of holding on to grudges, they let go. Instead of reacting to every little annoyance, they focus on what truly matters. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with heavy stones. Each stone represents a negative emotion: anger, resentment, frustration. The more you hold on to these emotions, the heavier the backpack becomes. But the moment you decide to let go, you feel lighter. This is what happens when you shift your perspective. When you stop letting people's actions control your emotions, you free yourself. The next time someone does something that would normally upset you, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? More often than not, the answer will be no. When you learn to prioritize your peace over temporary frustrations, you unlock a new level of emotional freedom. Understanding that everyone has a story doesn't mean you excuse toxic behavior or allow yourself to be mistreated. It simply means you choose not to let other people's actions control your emotions. It means you recognize that their behavior is about them, not you. And most importantly, it means you make the conscious choice to respond with kindness, empathy, and patience instead of anger. One of the biggest sources of frustration and anger in life comes from our desire to control people and situations. We expect others to behave a certain way, to treat us the way we think we deserve, and to react in ways that align with our values. But the reality is, people will always act according to their own perspectives, experiences, and emotional states, not based on our expectations. The more we try to control others, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment. Imagine you carefully plan a conversation with someone, expecting them to respond in a certain way, only for them to react completely differently. Instantly, you feel frustrated because things didn't go as you envisioned. This happens all the time, not just in conversations, but in relationships, work situations, and everyday interactions. When we place expectations on others, we unknowingly hand over our emotional stability to them. If they meet our expectations, we're happy. If they don't, we're upset. But the truth is, no one owes us the fulfillment of our expectations. People act based on their own priorities, emotions, and thoughts, not based on what we think they should do. A major shift happens when we realize that we cannot control how others behave. We can only control how we respond. If someone is rude to us, we cannot force them to be kind. If someone doesn't appreciate us, we cannot demand their gratitude. But what we can do is choose how much of our energy we invest in these situations. If you get upset every time someone doesn't behave the way you want them to, you'll spend your whole life being frustrated. Instead, if you accept that people will be who they are regardless of what you expect, you free yourself from unnecessary emotional turmoil. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring or that you become indifferent to people's actions. It simply means you stop attaching your peace of mind to external factors that are beyond your influence. It means you learn to accept situations as they come rather than resisting them with frustration. Life becomes much easier when you stop trying to change things that are out of your control and instead focus on managing your own emotions and reactions. Consider the example of traffic. You might be in a rush trying to get somewhere on time, and suddenly you find yourself stuck in a long traffic jam. No matter how much you honk, complain, or feel irritated, the traffic won't move any faster. You have no control over the situation. But what you do have control over is how you experience that moment. You can either choose to be frustrated and let the stress ruin your day, Or you can accept the reality of the situation and use that time to listen to music, reflect on your thoughts, or simply practice patience. The traffic remains the same, but your experience of it changes based on your response. This applies to people as well. If someone is being difficult, you can either spend hours feeling frustrated about their behavior, or you can accept that they are who they are and choose not to let it affect your inner peace. The more you resist a person's nature, the more energy you waste. Instead of wishing they would change, accept that their actions are a reflection of them, not of you. When you stop expecting others to act in a way that suits you, you liberate yourself from unnecessary suffering. A major source of disappointment in relationships comes from the desire to control how others treat us. We expect love, kindness, loyalty, and appreciation, and when we don't receive it in the way we imagined, we feel hurt. But love and kindness cannot be forced. You cannot make someone care about you the way you want them to. What you can do is show up as your best self and let others choose how they want to respond. If someone values you, they will show it. If they don't, no amount of effort from your side will change that. Accepting this truth is painful, but it is also freeing. It allows you to stop chasing validation and instead focus on surrounding yourself with people who naturally align with your energy. At work, many people get frustrated when their efforts go unnoticed. You might work hard expecting recognition, but when it doesn't come, you feel resentful. But the moment you stop expecting validation from others and start working because you genuinely enjoy what you do, you free yourself from disappointment. Recognition becomes a bonus, not a necessity. Your happiness no longer depends on whether others acknowledge your worth. It comes from within. The same applies to criticism. If you allow every negative opinion to affect you, you will spend your life trying to please people who will never be satisfied. But when you stop trying to control how others see you, when you accept that not everyone will like or understand you, you become unshakable. People's opinions of you are not your responsibility. Your responsibility is how you see yourself. The more you let go of the need for approval, the more at peace you become. Letting go of control also means embracing uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we try to plan, things don't always go our way. When we resist change, we suffer. When we accept it, we grow. Instead of fearing the unknown, we can choose to trust that whatever happens is for our highest good. Many times, the things we try so hard to control are the very things that are meant to lead us to something better. Think about a time when something didn't go as planned and you were upset, only to realize later that it happened for a reason. Maybe you lost a job, only to find a better opportunity. Maybe a relationship ended, leading you to personal growth. When you learn to trust the flow of life rather than resist it, you open yourself up to endless possibilities. When you let go of control, you also learn the power of surrender. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means allowing things to unfold as they are meant to, without forcing outcomes. It means understanding that not everything is within your power, and that's okay. It means focusing on what you can change, your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions, while making peace with what you cannot. A great way to practice this is through mindfulness. The more present you are in each moment, the less you dwell on what you can't control. When you focus on your breath, your surroundings, and what you're grateful for, you detach from the need to manipulate external circumstances. You learn to appreciate what is, rather than worrying about what could be. When you let go of the need to control people, you allow them to be their authentic selves. Instead of trying to mold them into your expectations, you appreciate them for who they are. This leads to deeper, more meaningful relationships because you are no longer imposing conditions on your connections. You accept people as they are, and in doing so, you create space for genuine love and understanding. The more you release control, the lighter you feel. You stop carrying the weight of trying to fix, change, or force things into place. You begin to trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should, and you embrace each moment as it comes. Instead of resisting, you flow. And in that flow, you find peace. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. Every person experiences setbacks, disappointments, and pain at some point. However, what truly defines a person is not the hardship they face, but how they choose to respond to it. Some people allow difficulties to break them, while others use those same challenges to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The difference lies in perspective. When you shift your mindset from seeing obstacles as barriers to viewing them as stepping stones, you unlock the power to turn pain into personal growth. Everyone goes through struggles that leave scars, both seen and unseen. A heartbreak, a betrayal, a failure, or an unexpected loss can shake the very foundation of your life. It's easy to feel defeated, to dwell on the unfairness of it all, and to let anger consume you. But holding on to resentment only prolongs suffering. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try shifting the question to, "What can this teach me?" This small change in perspective allows you to take control of your situation instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances. Every challenge carries a lesson. Failure teaches humility and perseverance. Heartbreak teaches self-worth and the importance of boundaries. Betrayal teaches discernment and the ability to trust the right people. Every painful experience comes with a hidden opportunity for growth. Those who learn to see these lessons instead of just the suffering find the strength to move forward with wisdom rather than bitterness. Pain is often seen as something to be avoided, but the truth is, some of the most inspiring individuals have turned their deepest struggles into their greatest strengths. When life knocks you down, you have two choices. Either stay down and let the pain define you, or rise up and use that pain to become a better version of yourself. Pain, when embraced with the right mindset, has the power to fuel transformation. It forces self-reflection, reveals true priorities, and pushes people toward paths they may never have explored otherwise. Think about people who have achieved greatness despite adversity. Many of the most successful people have endured extreme hardships. Their achievements were not born out of comfort, but out of struggle. They refused to let pain consume them. Instead, they used it as motivation to push forward, to prove to themselves that they were stronger than their circumstances. Their resilience wasn't a result of an easy life, but rather of the strength they developed through hardships. Pain also teaches empathy. When you have suffered, you understand others better. The person who has experienced loss knows how to comfort someone grieving. The person who has faced rejection knows how to encourage those who feel unseen. Pain connects people, fostering deeper relationships and understanding. When you transform your own struggles into lessons, you become a source of hope for others going through similar experiences. Instead of letting difficulties make you bitter, let them make you better. This means refusing to hold on to resentment, no matter how justified it may seem. It's easy to blame others for your pain, to wish things had been different, or to replay moments of hurt in your mind. But dwelling on the past does nothing to change it. True power lies in accepting what has happened, learning from it, and using it as fuel to create a stronger future. There are people who have gone through immense suffering, yet radiate positivity and kindness. They have chosen not to let their hardships harden them. They have understood that pain is a part of life, but suffering is a choice. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. Instead of allowing pain to break them, they allow it to shape them into individuals who inspire others. Turning pain into power also requires shifting focus from what was lost to what can be gained. If a door closes, another one opens. If an opportunity is missed, a new one will present itself. If a relationship ends, it makes space for personal growth or for better connections in the future. Life is a continuous journey of changes, and every painful moment is preparing you for something greater. The sooner you embrace this truth, the easier it becomes to move forward with confidence and hope. One of the most important aspects of transforming pain into power is learning to reframe negative experiences. Instead of seeing failures as defeats, view them as lessons. Instead of seeing hardships as punishments, recognize them as moments of growth. Every difficulty strengthens resilience, patience, and determination. The strongest people are not those who have never faced hardship, but those who have faced it, embraced the lessons, and come out wiser. Another way to turn pain into power is through gratitude. It may seem counterintuitive to be grateful in the face of suffering, but gratitude shifts perspective. No matter how bad a situation may seem, there is always something to be thankful for. Focusing on gratitude helps prevent pain from becoming overwhelming. It reminds you that despite hardships, there are still moments of joy, love, and opportunity in life. Self-reflection is also a crucial part of this transformation. Take time to understand how your struggles have shaped you. What strengths have you gained? What lessons have you learned? How have these experiences made you wiser or more compassionate? Self-reflection turns pain into a source of empowerment rather than a source of regret. It allows you to take control of your narrative rather than letting circumstances define you. It's important to remember that pain is temporary, but the strength gained from overcoming it lasts a lifetime. What feels unbearable today will eventually become a memory, a story of perseverance. The hardest days are not meant to break you, but to build you. Every storm eventually passes, and when it does, you will realize how much stronger you have become. Adversity is an opportunity for reinvention. Some of the most incredible personal transformations happen during times of struggle. Pain forces people to reevaluate their priorities, to discover hidden strengths, and to take bold steps toward change. Many people discover their passions, their true purpose, and their greatest ambitions only after going through hardship. When everything is comfortable, there is no need to grow. But when life challenges you, it also gives you the chance to rise above those challenges. Turning pain into power also means refusing to let external circumstances dictate your happiness. True peace comes from within, from knowing that no matter what happens, you have the strength to handle it. This kind of strength is built through facing difficulties head-on rather than avoiding them. It's about trusting yourself, believing that you are capable, and knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to rise. Letting go of resentment is another crucial part of transforming pain. Holding on to anger does not change the past, but it does hold you back from creating a better future. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or excusing what happened. It means choosing to release the emotional burden. The moment you let go of resentment, you make space for healing, growth, and peace. No one is immune to pain, but everyone has the power to decide how they respond to it. Some will let it consume them, keeping them stuck in the past. Others will use it as a source of strength, allowing it to fuel their personal growth. Every moment of hardship carries within it the potential for transformation. The choice is always yours. Life is filled with countless interactions, and not all of them will be positive. At some point, you will encounter people who frustrate, disappoint, or even hurt you. It is easy to react emotionally, to let anger or resentment take control, and to allow someone else's behavior to dictate your mood. But true strength lies in maintaining your inner peace, regardless of how others act. When you master emotional detachment, you no longer let external negativity affect your internal state. This is not about suppressing emotions, but rather about learning to respond instead of reacting. People's actions are often a reflection of their own struggles, insecurities, and emotional baggage. When someone is rude, dismissive, or hurtful, it rarely has anything to do with you. Most of the time, they are projecting their own pain, frustrations, or unresolved issues onto others. Understanding this truth helps you take things less personally. Instead of getting angry at someone's negativity, you begin to see them with compassion. You recognize that their words and actions are coming from their own experiences, not from a place of personal attack. Imagine you are in a situation where someone is unfairly criticizing you. Your immediate instinct might be to defend yourself, to argue, or to get upset. But what if you took a step back and reminded yourself that their words are a reflection of their state of mind, not your worth? The moment you detach from the need to prove yourself, you take away their power to affect you. You stay calm, knowing that your self-worth is not determined by someone else's opinion. Emotional detachment is not about being cold or indifferent. It is about protecting your peace. It is about choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. There is great power in being unbothered by negativity. Instead of engaging in unnecessary arguments, you conserve your energy for things that truly matter. You stop overanalyzing every comment, every action, or every misunderstanding. You realize that not everything needs a reaction, and in doing so, you gain control over your emotions. There are moments in life when people will test your patience. You might deal with toxic coworkers, judgmental relatives, or difficult strangers. In these situations, your ability to remain unaffected becomes your greatest strength. Some people thrive on creating drama-provoking reactions and drawing others into their chaos, but when you refuse to engage, you take away their influence over you. You remain grounded, knowing that their behavior has nothing to do with you. One of the most effective ways to stay unbothered is by setting clear emotional boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions, your thoughts, or your inner world. Just as you wouldn't let a stranger walk into your home and make a mess, you should not allow every person you meet to disrupt your peace of mind. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about recognizing what you will and will not tolerate. They help you protect your energy and ensure that your emotional well-being is a priority. Practicing mindfulness also plays a significant role in maintaining inner peace. When you stay present in the moment, you avoid getting caught up in unnecessary stress. Many times, frustration comes from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. But when you focus on the now, you realize that most external negativity has no real power over you unless you allow it. You learn to observe situations without immediately reacting, giving yourself the space to choose a calm and measured response. Another key aspect of remaining unbothered is developing self-awareness. When you understand your triggers, you gain control over your emotions. If you know that certain topics, people, or situations tend to upset you, you can prepare yourself mentally. Instead of reacting impulsively, you take a moment to breathe, reflect, and decide how you want to respond. This awareness allows you to break free from emotional patterns that no longer serve you. Your peace is your responsibility. You cannot control how others behave, but you can control how much power you give them over your emotions. If you let every rude comment or inconsiderate action disturb your peace, you will constantly be at the mercy of others. But when you choose to stay detached from negativity, you create a life where external circumstances do not dictate your happiness. Gratitude is another powerful tool in staying unbothered. When you focus on what is good in your life, the negative loses its grip on you. A rude stranger, an unkind coworker, or a temporary inconvenience cannot shake you when you are rooted in gratitude. You recognize that life is too short to be wasted on unnecessary negativity. Every day there are reasons to be grateful, and when you shift your focus to those, everything else becomes insignificant. Perspective is everything. What might seem like a major issue in the moment often becomes meaningless with time. Have you ever looked back on a situation that once upset you, only to realize later that it wasn't worth your energy? This is a reminder that many of the things we stress over are temporary. When you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you gain clarity. You learn to ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? More often than not, the answer is no. Laughter is also an incredible way to stay unbothered. When you learn to find humor in situations, you reduce their emotional impact. Not every inconvenience needs to be a source of stress. Sometimes the best response to negativity is to smile, take a deep breath, and move on. Life is unpredictable, and if you take everything too seriously, you will constantly be weighed down. A lighthearted approach allows you to navigate challenges with ease and resilience. Staying unbothered does not mean ignoring problems that require action. There are moments when standing up for yourself is necessary, when addressing an issue is the right thing to do. But even in these moments, you can choose to act from a place of calm confidence rather than anger. When you approach situations with clarity instead of emotion, you gain control over the outcome. Your energy is one of your most valuable resources, and wasting it on negativity drains you. Imagine what could happen if you redirected all the energy spent on anger, frustration, or overthinking toward personal growth, creativity, and happiness. The more you protect your peace, the more you create a life that feels fulfilling and meaningful. Some of the most successful and inspiring people are those who have mastered the art of emotional detachment. They do not allow criticism, negativity, or setbacks to shake their confidence. They remain focused on their goals, unaffected by distractions. This is because they understand that external chaos does not deserve internal attention. They prioritize their peace, knowing that a calm mind leads to better decisions, stronger relationships, and a more joyful life. At the core of being unbothered is self-love. When you truly value yourself, you do not allow unnecessary negativity into your life. You understand your worth, and you refuse to waste energy on things that do not align with your happiness. Self-love gives you the strength to walk away from toxic situations, to set boundaries, and to protect your inner peace. It reminds you that not every battle is worth fighting, not every comment is worth responding to, and not every person deserves your emotional investment. When you master the ability to remain unbothered, you gain freedom. You free yourself from the burden of overthinking, from the need for validation, and from the emotional roller coaster of reacting to every negative situation. You become untouchable, not because negativity does not exist, but because you have learned to rise above it. When you master the art of emotional detachment, you unlock a life of peace, clarity, and resilience. No longer controlled by external negativity, you gain the freedom to focus on what truly matters: your growth, happiness, and purpose. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every opinion deserves your attention. By choosing to remain unbothered, you reclaim your power. Life becomes lighter, your mind clearer, and your heart more at peace. True strength is not in reacting, but in knowing when to walk away, when to stay silent, and when to protect your energy. Your peace is priceless. Guard it.